So what's going on, y'all? Look, that third episode of Hawkeye, let's be real, miles better than the first two. Okay, the first two weren't bad or anything, but man, this third episode just upped the ante in every single way. Look, we got Kingpin, y'all. We got all kinds of new stuff, more Echo, so much more Clint and Kate, and getting beautiful moments between the two of them. Really nice, emotional, touching moments between Clint and Kate, and when she was helping him with his son. Man, this was just a good episode that raised the stakes in so many ways. But y'all, I'm here to check out the video that new Rockstars just put out. It is their Easter egg breakdown of the third episode. I want to see what I might have spotted and some things that I might have missed, y'all. So if you're new to the channel, hello and welcome. My name's Leo Rydell. This is Geekly Goods, y'all. And if you like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button down below. And y'all, let's check out the Easter egg breakdown for Hawkeye episode 3.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss.
What up,
and this
Eric?
is a breakdown of Hawkeye episode 3, Echoes, which beautifully shifts perspective to Echo Maya Lopez. Now confirmed to answer to a guy who probably crushes heads in car doors.
Kingpin, hell yeah.
From Hawkeye's trick arrows to the clever camera work to the cryptic ways they make us say, Uncle!
Such a good clip slip in.
There is so much to break down, so let's go back through this episode scene by scene for everything you might have missed.
Nice. We're going through it all, y'all.
Young Maya Lopez, I assume age 7 or so because their writing workbooks say grade 2. Darnell Bisa, who plays young Maya, looks significantly younger than the other kids in her class, which both makes us feel her intimidation while also hinting she's intellectually advanced for her age.
Yeah.
2007 is 5 years before the origin story flashback we saw for Kate Bishop, and even before Tony Stark became Iron Man in 2008-2009.
Oh,
this episode
yeah,
casts
good
Maya
speculation.
as a parallel
Didn't catch
character
that.
to Kate, but with greater challenges in her journey as a similarly groomed child warrior. And by starting her path chronologically earlier, it casts Maya as a kind of soldier Kate could turn into if she sticks to the path her mom set out for her. But it also makes Maya a participant in a chapter of MCU history well underway before Tony Stark came out of that cave, as we also saw with Shang-Chi's backstory with the 10 rings. The camera work takes us inside of Maya's point of view as she reads her teacher's lips, at one point just showing the word words. But this girl is actually way ahead of us. She completed her worksheet where she wrote, games to play are Solitaire and I Spy, since she's often alone and has advanced observational skills.
Yeah,
also, she wants to learn how to play capoeira. That's the Brazilian martial arts style, showing this girl's
Dang, I didn't even notice the
When
sheet.
we see adult Maya fighting later on, it seems like she's pretty well versed in it. Also,
Yeah,
she writes
very.
she runs as fast as a dragon, and she even drew a pretty solid dragon
Yeah,
on the
that's
worksheet.
really good.
Kate Bishop's doodles to shame. Speaking of dragons, Maya shadow puppets as a larger dragon head that eats the bird, or Hawk, a shadow cast by her father, William Lopez, played by the amazing character actor Zahn McClarnon, whom you might know from his great roles in Westworld and Fargo, so many other things.
Hell yeah.
You'll notice framed on her wall is a U.S. Karate Semi-Finalist Achievement Award, meaning Maya's already fairly accomplished at this young age. And they talk about dragons.
No.
This was such a good scene, man. Oh, it was so sad when he got mopped up. They have, girl, they have. Shang-Chi.
Make them stronger.
So this way, Maya ends up seeing herself as a unique being who must toggle between two worlds. You could also draw a connection to the Great Protector and Dweller in Darkness from Shang-Chi, both of which are powerful beings who have to toe the line between worlds. Now, I still think Kingpin is going to be the criminal element this series is leading toward,
definitely.
but let's also keep our eye on the 10 Rings operation, which again was very active during these pre-Iron Man years.
I didn't even really think about the 10 rings being a big part of this, because they totally could be a part of it with those references to dragons, and it's so soon after Shang-Chi. We could get some references, but I don't think they're gonna dive too deep and show like really anything that happened from Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi's sister or anything like that. I don't think they'll dive too deep, but man, some great details in the first couple minutes here, guys. Let's keep it going.
Maya asks her dad,
No.
yeah, it's implied that William might be in some sudden financial trouble connected to his work with the tracksuits and Uncle. It's just another parallel to Kate Bishop, whose father similarly faced some mysterious financial hardship followed by his departure, and instead the girl
The parallels, man, the parallels.
And you'll notice William has a chest tattoo of triangles arranged in a sun pattern. Later on, as an adult, Echo gets that same pattern stitched into her leather jacket.
What's going
as a
on
way
with
to
that?
tribute him. Then at the Brooklyn Karate Academy, one kid gets thrown to the mat. Nothing in this scene calls attention to this, but the credits of this episode list this kid as Little Kazi, meaning Maya and Kazi knew each other as kids.
Oh,
also,
wow.
a second tracksuit exits the building, while obviously their boss is there. So I think this school might be a training ground for young recruits of Uncle's organization. You can actually see how that second tracksuit is leading the instructor of this class outside, almost as if to have a chat, maybe about which kids are showing promise.
Yep,
The
they're
camera
training
work
them up.
cleverly masks Maya's right foot behind her backpack to make her prosthetic foot more of a reveal. Then this Fisky moment.
Uncle will take you home after class
Yes, baby, Kingpin.
tonight.
Look at this ad break, y'all. That ad break, hell no. It's that chuckle. It's that chuckle.
Uncle is going to be revealed as Wilson Fisk
Yes.
Kingpin, at least going by the fact that Kingpin is the boss of the tracksuits and of Maya Lopez in the comics that the show is based on.
It's
Also,
definitely
the show's
Kingpin.
reference to a head of organized crime and the location of Lot New York Palace Hotel, which in Daredevil season
I gotta
3
read this
is
comic,
the same
man.
hotel that Fisk buys. Also in this episode, Fat Man Auto Repair Shop, etc., etc. But in this specific shot, listen to the sound mixing. They give Uncle's footsteps heavier thuds compared to William's steps.
Oh, wow.
And he's wearing a tailored suit with cufflinks, which this
Yep.
Netflix series is famously
Cufflinks.
proud of.
Yep.
But more than anything is his laugh.
Like, that's definitely him.
If you
Come
watch Law
on.
and Order Criminal Intent, you know this is
Yep.
D'Onofrio's laugh. Also something he every once in a while admits in an interview.
Did you finally get something to eat? I mean,
We wrapped.
okay.
That's definitely him. Yep.
Yes, that breathy, high-pitched chuckle, it just sounds to me like
That's
a possible
him.
younger 2007 era Wilson Fisk. So we got to adult Maya, Alakwa Cox, now in a boxing gym. I did look for signs whether this could be Fogwell's gym of Matt Murdock, but I don't know if this is even in New York because there's like an Illinois state champion sign back there.
Okay.
But then she pulls up to Fat Man Auto Repair, again, assuming Trust a Bro Moving Company is an in-joke with tracksuits. Seems like a front that they might
Jeez.
have named in honor of their own big boy, Kingpin
Yeah,
boss.
Kingpin.
Slices his way through the tracksuits, a massacre shown in a long take from the outside in, just like his
Pretty
slaughter of
crazy.
Tokyo in Endgame. Though, we must ask, is this truly Clint? Or
I had this question.
inherited the Ronin assassin type
I had this
suit
question.
and sword from a predecessor who actually is this one here killing William Lopez, a predecessor like Jack Duquesne.
Yep,
And
yep. This is exactly, guys, what I was wondering. I was like, is that Clint in the suit? Because he could have clearly not been the first Ronin, technically. And guess who has a sword at the end of the episode? Jack. And he's sneaking around, little sly. I mean, him being hired by someone to take out those tracksuits, totally not out of the realm of possibility, in my opinion.
that could be why Jack wanted the Ronin sword so badly at
Yeah,
that auction. Jacques
see?
Duquesne Swordsman is Clint's past mentor in the comics, and this episode ends right before Clint turns to look at him.
So he
We'll see.
has to recognize
But I
him,
could also
man.
see the series just keeping Clint as a killer of Maya's father, just to keep that juicy tension between them. You know, whether we're talking about characters like Kingpin or Nick Fury or the Watcher, there's no shame in going bald if, like, you're on the other side of it and you can own it. But when you're in that process of first losing your hair and you're not ready for that, it can be very stressful for the guys I know who are going through that. Like, it's not fun to lose your keys or your marbles
Ad coming
or just
up
to
or
lose
something.
anything like your hair. But if you've noticed that has started to begin, there is something you can do
Yep.
to stop it. Because 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time the hair that but it have an act tracking tool so that you and nearly prevent 50%. Maya now finds her order. That's keeps.com/new rockstars. But Maya now finds her father mortally wounded.
Man, when the dad died, so sad.
As in, fly away from this whole world of crime. Don't let the violence consume you. And he presses
Yep.
his bloody hand to her cheek, leaving a handprint
man.
face marking, just like Echo bears in the comics. This show rules.
Yeah, it does.
The title logo, unlike last episode, features neither of the 2 arrows hitting the target in the A, as this episode is less about Kate and Clint
Echo.
Archers and more about Maya. Now, the location of the tracksuits hideout is an abandoned K&B Toys warehouse, which in real life went bankrupt in 2009.
Yep.
And here in the post-apocalyptic MCU, there's
So?
no need for toys because children turn into dust and others turn into grown men who don't play with toys. You can see the tracksuits
Jeez.
trussed up bro moving trucks parked out front, which actually, if you think about it, might be a good cover for them always saying bro. We're just squad doing our business, nothing suspicious. But they also have this tagline, smile, you're moving. Of course, these bros would tell people to smile.
Yep,
Hey,
of course.
sweetheart, I'm shoving their bed frame down fire escape and singing Imagine Dragons. You should smile more.
You talk too much. Blah, 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 blah. Maybe I rip out your throat.
Now remember, it was night
Shit.
before. Now it is morning, meaning the tracksuits must have spent several hours toying with Clint and Kate on those riding machines that play jingle bells, of course reminding Clint of the Christmas with his family that he is missing. There are signs around this warehouse for a liquidation sale, but one behind Clint reads, "Nothing held back."
Oh.
An odd choice of words for everything must go. Actually, there's a similar poster later that underlines
Discount
this
Jon
with,
Snow.
"When it's gone, it's gone." Just sounds like a pretty bleak sales
Yeah,
push for
jeez.
toys during the blip apocalypse. When things are gone, they're gone. Kate gives Tomas
Nothing
advice
held
for
back.
the Imagine Dragons concert. Get with the dragons this episode. And Maya, noticing Clint's hearing aid, cuts his hands free so that he can sign.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Hard of hearing.
Cookies, this
I
dude.
love that they don't caption Maya's ASL when showing her from Clint's perspective, similar to how they captioned her
So we
teacher
don't
with
know.
words earlier.
Yeah, I like
also,
that a lot.
Maya cutting his hands free so that he could sign is ultimately what enables Clint to escape, because then Kazi has to rush to rebind his hands behind his back, which is where Clint can use friction to cut himself free without them seeing. Clint claims the Ronin is dead.
So who got him then?
We know this ain't true. Natasha Romanoff.
Yeah, Clint mouthed Natasha Romanov, and he is telling a version of the truth here because he was on his violent path as the Ronin before Natasha found him and pulled him out of that life,
Yep.
effectively ending the Ronin's murder
So
spree.
it's pretty much
After he
true.
breaks free, Clint hides among the empty toy stacks, making this the second time after Loki episode 2 that MCU characters on Disney Plus have hid from each other in a disaster-adjacent store setting. It's almost like these broken toys are being reshelved as merchandise to sell Disney Plus subscriptions. Am I reading too much into it? Clint pins Maya to the wall with 2 arrows, and then mid-jump, he
That was so
slices an arrow
good.
past Kazi's
So
ear to sever
tight.
Kate's tape. Notice how this arrow and the other first few arrowheads are field tips, which are made for target practice, meaning that they're the least lethal penetrating arrowhead, just showing how Clint's objective here is to kill as few people as possible.
Yep.
All the
Out of
stunts
that
and
Ronin
specificity of
stuff.
Clint hitting the tracksuits' non-lethal zones, like their limbs, their shoulders, super impressive, especially Clint's no-look shot through the guy's hand,
That was
recalling
so
his
tight.
no-look strike on a
Yep.
Chitauri in the 2012 Avengers. But I do have to give credit to the background NPC. Yeah, you can get that empty space. Now, outside, Kate wants to take the red Challenger, which is a lot like the car they drive in this chase sequence in the comics it's based on.
But
they
he did
subvert
want
that
to.
instead with this Chrysler. Clint hotwires it.
Are you ready to bake?
Click join, give her.
Ain't got another ad, man.
Yes, more Christmas music. Here, the Dance of the Sugar
So
Plum
good.
Fairy, which we hear later in the episode. And then when they bump the car, the track changes to Tripak, that's a Russian dance. Both of these songs from The Nutcracker, composed by Tchaikovsky, considered the most famous
Oh.
Russian composer. This Russian music scoring their escape from the Russian,
Russian
gang. Now,
gang.
music directors Burt and Bernie directed
Tight.
this episode, and they feature this 1-minute unedited rotating shot in the back seat of the car, which is a direct homage to Alfonso Cuarón's famous swivel shot during the car chase in Children of Men, one of my favorite shots in all of them. In that movie, they
Wow.
accomplished it by rigging a stunt car with a hole cut out of the roof with a camera hanging from the rigging above, which they may have also had to do here. At one point, you'll notice
What a
the camera
cool
switches
parallel.
handheld as it moves out the backseat window to follow Kate outside the car, and you can see a lens flare from the sun, which might be where they concealed a cut. And we get to see all of Clint's
Ooh,
trick
tight.
arrows, the first of which is a putty arrow. The next one's less tricky, it's really just a RPG. If you look closely in that car, there is just one guy in it, the driver, but yeah, Kate Bishop probably killed that dude.
Yep,
She
he
fires off a
gone.
plunger arrow, which stays on the windshield of that car right until Clint Clint needs it at the end of the scene. And then this wire release arrow that snares a bunch of Christmas trees.
Really
to the truck.
cool.
If you think of this in terms of comedic heightening, this is totally Home Alone, even with the Tchaikovsky music that John Williams totally ripped off for his score for Home Alone. And the bad guys are getting all sticky first.
Yep.
They get covered with Christmas decor. There's a reason we love this. Then Clint fires a Pym-Tech
That
arrow
was
at a
so
normal arrow that
cool.
Kate brings down,
So
resizing
cool.
it to be gigantic and somehow not destroying the suspension bridge. Of course, recalling Clint and Ant-Man's teamwork in Civil War, this arrowhead is stamped with the Pym logo.
Yep.
So Hank Pym himself must have engineered this and approved it. It glows
Seen that
blue,
one.
the color of the Pym resizing
Pym
discs when
arrow.
they are set to grow mode. Like many of these goofy trick arrows, it just seems like all of Pym-Tech, contrasting Stark Tech, was really designed to be less lethal in general. And perhaps Hank Pym
Big
is now the
contrasting
chief
Stark
armorer
stuff.
of this faction of the Avengers. Clint gives her a USB arrow, which we saw a version of when Clint fired an arrow with a computer virus into the helicarrier in the 2012 Avengers. We also saw the
Didn't
USB
spot
arrow
that
in
one.
the What If episode when they downloaded the Zola virus via arrow. Yet when Kate fires this arrow, it just bounces off Ivan's chest. I mean, even a USB
Boink.
tip with that momentum probably should have impaled him.
Yeah, that was a
There's
little
something about this
odd.
guy. Like when he broke the car window glass with his bare fist. I just think this dude has been juicing on something.
Yeah,
Then
okay,
together
okay.
leap off the bridge and turn
Okay,
toward us,
hold
recreating
up, hold
Hawkeye's
up,
big
y'all.
move that Kate
Wait, wow. I didn't even catch that. Like, my man, he might have some soldier serum in him, y'all. Like, holy shit, because, damn, think about it. Like, this dude busted through a window. His hand was good. I agree. That was one thing I didn't think of. I was just, like, laughing at it when that episode. Yeah, like, that speeding arrow should have at least impaled him. Any kind of object flying at that velocity, especially from Kate Bishop's bow, I feel like would really hurt that guy. Unless it's like a rubber arrow, but I feel like she would know. Big detail there, big detail. I didn't catch that.
witnessed from the Battle of New York in the opening frame from the Fraction Aha comics. But here she grabs the bow, and they do this in tandem, swinging down,
tight.
this time sharing the power move as co-equal Hawkeyes,
Hell
which Clint
yeah.
realizes in the subway car.
Oh, we gotta walk the dog. I'm quite sure how long a dog can
Call
walk.
yourself one of the world's greatest archers.
God, you really think so?
Probably should walk the dog. Cooped up all day.
Yes, they're still
Probably
not
should
properly
walk the
communicating,
dog.
and I love the poster behind them for family counseling, framing these two as their own kind of dysfunctional family.
So
unit. Another
good.
Rogers and Musical billboard appears, tagline "Every Avenger brought to life," which feels a little cruel.
Yeah,
Both for the
right?
dead Avengers like Natasha and Tony, also for the ones who are still alive, like Clint. And
Yeah,
then
what the
another
heck?
heartbreaking Scene. Clint gets a call from his son Nathaniel, to whom Clint says that he's gonna miss a Christmas movie marathon, but that hopefully
So
he'll be there for
sad.
ugly sweaters.
Beautiful
so thinking
scene,
about
though.
this, every day that goes by, Clint misses another pitch that one of his kids said at that dinner scene in episode 1. Nate wanted to do gingerbread houses, missed that. Now he's missing Lila's pitch of a movie marathon. And yeah, he's
Aw.
probably gonna miss Cooper's day.
Ugly sweaters.
Yeah, even more depressing when you consider that Clint spent 5 years of Christmases without his family.
Yeah.
I'm not crying, you're crying. Kazi tells Maya.
Kingpin
so
about to
didn't
get pissed.
mention their hunting of Ronin. If it is Kingpin, it would mean that he and the Ronin have a history, and that he specifically spent these past couple years hiding from her. Clint and Kate wait in Chinatown beside a sign reading "Happy New Year 2020 something." Now there's
Yeah,
a set
what?
photo.
Oh,
angle
okay,
that showed it was
2025.
going to be 2025. That would have placed Hawkeye maybe in December 2024, or since really the Chinese New Year would be January 29th, 2025. Maybe this sign is old and it's December 2025. I don't know. I've been burned trying to pin down timeline logic before.
Yeah.
And now with Hawkeye, there's some Marvel producers who said
2
this
years
was
after
2 years
Endgame. Like,
after
what are we
Endgame, which is
doing?
meant, like in Christmas 2025, but I don't know if that producer was really thinking about it like that. I
Right,
just think
who
that
knows?
Confusion is why they cover up the year now in this shot. In the diner, Kate says,
My dad was fearless. And his whole life was about helping people.
was it? I mean, clearly Kate
Right.
has some hero worship for her dad, who probably wasn't that great of a guy. Another parallel to Maya, whose dad was also working for a criminal network. Now,
Right.
the directors place the camera directly between the characters that force the actors to stare directly into the lens, makes us feel a little awkward, uncomfortable. Wes Anderson likes to use this a lot. Jonathan Demme used it in Silence of the Lambs.
Big
between
Wes
Clarice
Anderson
and
thing.
Hannibal, just as a way to force the actors to feel that discomfort as they're acting across from a machine instead of a person. Helps underscore the awkwardness here. Clint feels awkward as Kate probes about the Ronin and him being a role model, and Kate feels awkward that Clint is stonewalling her. Kate doodles a costume redesign with a huge H on the forehead, like Hawkeye's look in the
Yeah,
comics. Hawkeye scoffs,
caught
but
that one.
His scar with a bandage on his forehead does take the shape of an H. Kate brainstorms names for the dog using names of famous pizza chains.
So, okay, I noticed that most of the suits in the MCU, whenever they reference an old suit, It seems that the character doesn't like it. Remember Jessica Jones, where her sister had that suit and it was her comic book suit, and she was like, ew, what's that ugly thing? It's like they don't like their actual suits from the comics. I love it.
Little Caesar. Dog father.
Aw.
Sir Dog of Pizza. Pizza dog.
Yeah.
Clint talks about the tracksuit organization.
They started small, but grew. There's the guy at the top. He'll do anything to grow the operation.
I thought Maya was the boss.
No, there's someone above Maya.
Yep.
Someone you don't want to mess with.
Yes, this confirms
Kingpin.
that Clint knows Uncle, and he goes on to say,
Go on and hit the supplier on the other side, and then hit tracksuit up management.
yeah, Uncle's supplier might have actually been that Mexican cartel that Clint slaughtered that was mentioned by
shit.
Rhodey in Endgame. Clint also wonders,
Do you think that the
Aw.
tracksuits were after anything else at that auction? Yeah, it's pretty upsetting to think there might be stuff from the Avengers compound floating around out there.
yes, reminding us of that watch that the tracksuits did make it their priority to steal. I did think for a second that Ivan might have been wearing it, because he was wearing a gold watch. It is hard to tell, but obviously whoever really wanted this watch, maybe someone who values fancy finery and cufflinks, is really
Kingpin.
key to unlocking this mystery. Eleanor's penthouse, we now see, has actually been reconstructed almost exactly from its previous state before it was all destroyed. Why rebuild it? Why so attached to this property? Well, that might be because
My great-great-great-great-grandfather built the building.
Yeah.
remember at Derek's funeral, we saw a headstone for Russell Bishop, implying that this series is going to explore the Bishop family history and why they own this property for over a century and why Eleanor seems reluctant to give it up. Kate
Yeah,
brings up
what's going
listings
on?
from the Bishop security database on her mom's computer. Kazi works for a company called Sloan Limited. I doubt is associated with any of the random people named Sloan from the Marvel comics. It's likely just a shell company Eleanor put on
Yeah,
the
it's like,
books to
what?
allow her to fund the tracksuit's operations discreetly. It also says the company was founded in 2011, right before Derek Bishop's death. Just another clue that Eleanor might have had something in the works before
Yep.
Derek mysteriously
See,
died
she-
off screen. Remember in episode 1, Armand told her,
Uh-oh, y'all see? Eleanor up to some stuff.
implying that Armand believed Eleanor's success was actually due to an association with someone, probably Uncle Willie.
Yep.
Also on this list is the name Kemp
Uncle Willie.
M, which could refer to Michael Kemp, who in Daredevil Season 3 was a Rikers inmate from whom Matt Murdock tried to get information about Wilson Fisk's Albanian connections. And Jack extends the Ronin sword right in front of Clint's neck. From the right side of the screen to the left across Clint's neck, the same framing
Shit,
used to
dude.
foreshadow Armand's death, we think, by this sword during the auction in episode 1. We cut to black before Clint turns, making it still up in the air if Clint and Jack might have had a past relationship, and that sword might have indeed previously
Yeah.
belonged to Jack.
I think it might have been
One last
Jack.
detail that might be nothing, but I wanted to point it out anyway. During the closing credits, the cast names are all designed to have extending arrows from the letters. Most actors have both an up and a down arrow in their name, except 4 actors who only have down arrows. Jeremy Renner,
Jeremy.
Tony Dalton, Fra Fee, and Vera Farmiga. Perhaps a clue pointing to which characters might not make it out of this series alive.
No,
Clint,
no.
Jack, Kazi, Eleanor? Time will tell. Hey,
Not
you can support this channel
Clint,
by
not
checking out our great
Clint.
merch options at newrockstarsmerch.com.
Oh no! All right, y'all. That's it for the new Rockstars video. You know, I was wondering about the Ronin thing because I was thinking when he was flipping through the windows and killing all the tracksuit, I was wondering. I know Clint like went through some dark stuff during that 5 years, but I was wondering what if it was Jack? What if it could potentially be him? He was the first Ronin. Then Clint came along. Like, I'm so curious as to what's going on with Jack. Eleanor seems fishy. Man, there are some little details in this video that I did not pick up on. So I'm actually glad I watched it because I almost want to go back and watch the episode again and like see what I could spot. But y'all let me know down in the comments what you thought of this episode. What did you think about the breakdown, the Easter egg breakdown? Man, I always love new Rockstars videos and I'm definitely going to be reacting to more of their stuff, guys, because I just love picking up on new things and seeing what others, you know, see and discover that I did not even think about when I saw the episode. Because, man, this breakdown is so detailed, so well done. Always a good job by Eric Voss and team. So I will leave the link to that down in the comments, but I'm sure you guys have already seen it. But, guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, hit that big red subscribe button down below. And we'll see you next time on Geekly Goods.